In many ways, the electronic tuner has made us a bit tone deaf, because we don't listen anymore, we just watch. But before the advent of this miraculous device, great artists like Earl Scruggs and J.D. Crowe were able to quickly and efficiently tune their banjos for different capo settings by ear. You can learn to do this too. It actually involves just 3 easy concepts: proper instrument setup, understanding what to expect when you change capo settings, and just a bit of patience to learn SuperTune. To get us to our goal, I'm going to go over these 3 concepts, start off with banjo setup, and most importantly, how to properly determine the precise location of the bridge so that your capo will work to its best advantage. When using a capo, I will show you the actions you will take to make sure your instrument is good to go. All this without the need of a tuner. With practice, you should be able to change capo settings in under 20 seconds and be perfectly in tune. And you also will ensure that your banjo is noting true and in tune when playing up the neck. To get started with SuperTune, you will need the following items: a good electronic tuner, preferably with a built-in microphone, fresh strings that have been played in for a day or so, a lead pencil, a good quality adjustable pressure capo, and a good banjo. Let's discuss the individual components that contribute to good banjo setup. Head tension is arguably the most important factor in setup. Now, all banjos are different, so each will have its own head tension for optimum tone. And many believe that you simply tighten the head until the banjo sounds good. But there's also a way to get the head tension into the ballpark so that you can make further fine adjustments unique to SuperTune. This method involves tuning the head of the banjo just like drums. Now, most banjo experts agree that you'll want to strive for a G-sharp note for maple and other hardwood banjos, and up to or slightly less than an A for mahogany and other softwood instruments. You can hear the note as you scratch or tap the head. Whenever you tune or bend a string, the string itself moves lengthwise across its pressure points, namely the bridge and the nut. You will want to make sure that the slots are filed in such a way as to allow the string to glide across the channels. This action may also be facilitated by the addition of a bit of graphite from a lead pencil. The tailpiece should be adjusted so that there is just enough pressure on the bridge to keep it from moving sideways. Many people put too much pressure or too little pressure, and this will adversely affect the tone as it will affect the accuracy of SuperTune. For the common Presto-style tailpiece, many setup pros adjust the height so that the leading edge is approximately 1/4 inch off the head. If the action is too low or too high, you will have difficulty finding the exact spot for the bridge. Try to set your action between 1/8 and 3/16 of an inch at the 12th fret, measured from the top of the fret to the string. The action can be varied by changing the bridge to a different height, or by taking your banjo to a luthier to have the action professionally adjusted. There are other things that can be done to ensure proper setup of your instrument, but a qualified luthier should do these if you don't feel comfortable performing them. These factors include neck bow adjustment, tone ring fit, and tone chamber volume adjustment. Although tone ring fit and tone chamber space will not affect tuning, it sure will make your instrument sound great. Lastly, you should also make sure that you have installed a means to capo the 5th string, because many new banjos do not have this. Now let's get down to the basics of SuperTune. To start, let's find the exact spot where the bridge should be placed on the head. To do this, we will first get the approximate starting place. Now make sure that when you sight down the banjo from the tailpiece end, that the middle string is aligned and there isn't any side pull on the bridge. The bridge should be in the center of the tailpiece when viewed from behind. Now tune the banjo to standard G tuning and note the difference in tones between the harmonic and the fretted note at the 12th fret. Work with only the low and high D strings, that is strings 1 and 4. If the noted tone is sharp, move the bridge slightly toward the tailpiece. If the noted tone is flat, move the bridge toward the peg head. Note that the bridge may end up being slanted. Now, while still making sure that the banjo is in tune using an electronic tuner with a microphone, place your pressure capo on the 2nd fret. It is important to place the capo correctly, which is directly on and slightly behind the fret with as little pressure as possible to prevent buzzing, but yet still yield a clear tone. Now with your tuner switched on, lightly play the 1st string, which is really now an E because of your capo, and see if the string is in tune. Take note if it is in tune or sharp or flat. Now lightly play the 4th string and do the same thing. Slightly move the bridge appropriately, either forward, back, or slant, depending on what the tuner tells you. Do not retune the strings at this time. Now remove the capo and retune to G again using the electronic tuner once again, and repeat this process until you're able to put the capo on the 2nd fret and have the 1st and 4th strings exactly in tune with the tuner. Using your pencil, lightly mark the bridge position so that you can get back to it if necessary. Now move the capo to the 4th fret and again check the 1st and 4th strings to make sure that they are exactly in tune. If they aren't, move the bridge, but this time no more than a very small amount to compensate. Then remove the capo, retune to G, and repeat. This entire process may take a long time. But remember, you're checking open G, the A capo position, and the B capo position on strings 1 and 4. When the bridge is finally in place, mark it with a pencil on the head. Now, assuming that you were able to successfully get good tuning accuracy using the bridge placement technique, it's now time to learn how to quickly use your capo without an electronic tuner. The first and fourth strings will be your guide strings. You should rarely have to tune them once you have initially set them to pitch. But we need to understand what to expect from the other strings when changing the capo. On most banjos, the third string may be a bit sharp when using a capo. Therefore, your first mental note will be to flatten this string by drawing the tuner below pitch and then up while playing the first and third strings together. When you hear resonance in the perfect fifth interval that is created, you will know when this string is in tune. A quick cross-check is to play the fourth string at the fifth fret above the capo and the third string together. They should sound exactly the same with no beats produced. The second string should be close to in tune. However, in an open G playing situation, many players will temper the second string slightly flat to match the first string when noting the second string at the third fret. If this has previously been done, the second string may sound flat with a capo and may need to be raised slightly. Keep a mental note if you have to adjust this string. Using your fifth string capo, match the fifth string to the first string guide string. If you have spikes, you may have to tune down a bit. You should now be perfectly in tune. Check it with a setup tuner. Occasionally, you may find that your guide strings don't sound in tune for some reason. Here's a list of things to check. Many times the capo may be pressing on one of the guide strings more than the other. For example, if you notice that the fourth string is sharp compared to the first, try rocking the capo slightly toward the first. Remember, don't retune any of the guide strings when the capo is in place. If necessary, make sure the guide strings are in tune with each other in the open G position, then reapply the capo. The bridge may have moved sideways a bit during a strong brush or ending. Check periodically to make sure that the bridge remains within the marks that you have made with your pencil during initial setup. Also, if you change bridges, you will have to set the bridge position again as we showed earlier. Make sure the head is at the same tension that the bridge was set to. If possible, make a recording of the sound that the head makes when you have it set to optimum. If the strings are old, they may prevent you from tuning properly. Try changing them. Please note, if you change the gauge of the strings, you will probably have to reset the bridge position. Thank you for watching this presentation. I hope it has been helpful to you. Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you were able to gain something from that and just have a little bit of follow-up here on some of the things that was represented there. The business of rocking the capo when you put a capo on is very important, and I'm going to further demonstrate how that's done. Now, this should be in pretty good tune for G. Now, let's say I wanted to go to B flat, so what I'd have to do here is put the capo on and make sure it's perfectly parallel with very light pressure, and check the guide strings. Now, they're in tune, but I'm going to exaggerate this. If you don't have the capo on exactly right, you hear how sharp that is? So you have to rock the capo. Rock it back and forth until they're in tune. Then the center string. Bring that up to pitch, or bring it down if it's sharp. It usually will be sharp, will be the third string. And then finally the last string, using your 5th string capo, put that on. And match it with, in the video it says to match it with that. But you can match it with the middle one now that you have it in tune. And a combination of the 3rd string and the 1st guide string. And you should be, there's your cross check. 4th string, 4th string, 5th fret from the capo. There we go. So that's pretty much the essence of it, and you really have to, sometimes when I'm working on a banjo to get this to work, and I've changed a lot of things on the banjo, such as the head tension, I've put a new bridge on and the tailpiece is different. It can literally take 2 or 3 days to get this exact, because you want to get it where you think it is, leave it overnight, get the banjo back out again and try it again, just to make sure. So also the business of the bridge moving sideways, sometimes that'll happen, and you'll be wondering why the SuperTune method's not working. So make sure that you occasionally check the bridge and make sure it's within those guidelines. But anyway, I hope that you enjoyed it, and happy banjo playing, and hopefully we will be able to meet sometime and talk about it and how you've set your banjo up using this method. Take care and thanks.